first question is just how the last couple of weeks, the last 6 weeks been for you, and what's it like been being back in the building and back on the job?
Yeah, first of all, it's been incredible being back here and meeting people and getting back in touch with the community, so that's been phenomenal. But last 6 weeks have been a whirlwind. Made 3 trips over as we progressed through June, and then the housing piece worked itself out, and
Awesome.
we've been here since July 1 in our new home. So
Sweet.
it's been a grind, but it's been awesome. So it's been fun.
Awesome. That new home, is it a new neighborhood for you, or similar neighborhood, or?
It's actually kind of in our old neighborhood, just down below McSorley Elementary.
Nice.
Nice little neighborhood, and the housing market here is a little crazy right now, but we were very blessed to find a home, and we're very excited to be a part of the community again.
Sweet. I want to go back to the timeline of your decision to come back to LC State, because from what I understand, based on what you said in the news conference in May, it all happened very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
When did you become aware that this would be an opportunity, and who reached out to you?
Mr. Palmer reached out, Ronnie Palmer, shortly after the regional had completed. So, yeah, he made a phone call, and it was about a 5-minute phone call, so it was good.
And of course, you've been very plain about, this is kind of a drop everything and go job. Like, this is, when LC calls, they answer. Was it a quick decision process then for you? And just what factors were you considering when deciding to come back here?
Well, your number one factor that you always consider is your family. And my wife has been with me we're going on 30 years now. So it's been, when she looked at me and said, absolutely, we knew it was a slam dunk. Obviously, we still have a kid in high school with Cal, my youngest. But that transition piece of all the places that you would leave to go to, coming back to where he already has some friends here, made it a lot easier. My oldest is graduating, he's going off to college. So obviously the outlying pieces lined up, but to get a call from LC State to come be their head baseball coach is something that you answer that call, and obviously very strong ties to this program and the people involved and the players and the community, and kind of see all the above. So very easy decision, but obviously talking to the family would be always, any grown man would say that. So yeah.
And what did your family say when you brought this up to them?
Oh, my wife was fired up. She loved the community. We both did our time here, and being a teacher and in the school system for the 6 years we were here, she's got some strong bonds there. So to come back and be back with the crew here in our education was great for her. She had a great time. So the youngest, Cal, he is a little bit, he's 16, so you always expect a little bit of anxiety there, but he's working through it. I think once he gets over here, he'll calm down a little bit. But yeah, it's good.
Sweet. And then for these the first several weeks on the job, obviously you said you logged a lot of miles, a lot of recruiting trips. Just what have these several weeks comprised for you?
Well, I think the main thing was getting our returning roster solidified, and all but one is coming back. The one gentleman that's got to go home, he wants to be closer to family. He's a Southern California kid, but everybody else is coming back. So that was number one priority, and I said that in the introductory press conference. And so we feel really good about that. And then using our resources that are out there that support LC State baseball and the baseball world, and getting the right guy to be a part of this. Obviously, there's high expectations here for everybody involved, and finding that right student athlete to come be a part of this, it takes some time. So we've been, Coach Balmer, he's just awesome with his ties as well, in combination with our whole staff of reaching out and getting the right people here. And we feel really good about our group. That's been our number one priority, is our student athletes, getting them here and getting the right kid. And I think we've checked that box.
Do you remember your first recruiting trip back on the job, whether it was May or June, and what was that experience like, being back and representing LC again?
Well, it was actually back in my hometown, the regional was being hosted, and so there were 4 junior college teams there, and obviously a lot of ties to Umpqua Community College, and there were some kids that I recruited as high school kids that were still there, going to be sophomores, or going to be juniors, and getting a few of those guys locked in immediately. Obviously, having some guys that are familiar with my program and how I run it, I thought that was huge. So we were able to get 3 Umpqua Community College kids right out of the chute, so that was good. And then start going out and hitting up our resources, people that know the kind of student athlete that we're looking for. And we've had a lot of success there.
Sweet. And for a lot of these recruitments, are these public yet, or are these announced at a later date?
We'll announce our full recruiting class at a later date. Yeah,
Sweet.
That'll be coming up here. We still got about 5 more kids that we're looking at. The portal's closed. We got to wait for the draft to get finished. Once that's done, I think we'll have an opportunity to get a few more guys that are that upper echelon talent that were potential D1 guys or were D1 guys and need a place. So yeah, the portal has changed everything, and we talked about that as well in that introductory talk. But it's been bizarre how many kids are out there and how many kids are still available. So I like our chances.
When you despite the new environment with the portal, when you're wearing your LC hat and representing the Warriors, are those conversations much different than what you had before?
Not a lot different. I mean, in the Northwest, LC is, we're right there with Oregon State, Oregon, UW. People know who we are. And the thing that's interested me is the high school kids are wanting to come here more now. So that's a big one where it was mainly JC kids. So I think we got an opportunity to really attack that high school level a little bit more and get those high school kids in. Right now, I think last count we have 5 kids that will possibly be early signing with us going into their senior year. So that's good. But yeah, it's LC State, man. It's well known. When you're knocking on doors and making phone calls, they know who we are. So that's awesome.
And when you look at the process of re-recruiting the roster, you said everybody but one who could come back is coming back. What were those conversations like? What did you get a chance to meet the team as a whole, or did you count everybody individually?
I didn't get to meet the whole team. There are some that are still in town. There were some that were getting out of town, and I was over here. So I got to meet probably a quarter of the team. But phone conversations, text, just communicating throughout. There's some buzz, absolutely. There's some excitement. There might be a little bit of anxiety too, but when a new coach comes in, there's always a little bit of that. But the stability of our assistants, and that was the other piece that I wanted to make sure happened, is all of our assistants are back as well. So we've done that. They've got very strong ties and great relationships with all those returners. So I feel good about that coming in kind of as the outsider and being welcomed in by the new group. So I got to earn my trust. I got to earn my respect from them. And so far, so good.
Sweet. We talk about bringing your assistant pool back. How crucial was that to you starting this next chapter?
It's vital. Obviously, I have strong ties with 3 of the 4. Building a relationship with Coach Vial. He's phenomenal. He's a warrior, man. He's grinding for us. He's doing some incredible things. So yeah, that's a big piece. Whoever a head coach is, their voice is just one, but to have 4 more voices is just so critical. And we've knocked it out of the park with our assistants.
Do you remember Alan Bomber's reaction to when he learned that you'd be coming back?
Yeah. We had a brief phone call, and it was great. Let's go. Let's get the band back together. So Coach Ballmer and I have a very strong relationship. We've known each other for a very long time. We've been in the battle together, and get reunited with him is huge. He's a big piece of this process.
When you look at everything that he does in particular, I guess how can you describe his impact from recruiting to obviously on the field coaching and as a voice in that locker room?
Yeah, the recruiting piece. He's a phenomenal recruiter. Has very strong relationships with all of the Northwest and even down in California and beyond. So that piece is, it's just like anything else. It's about relationships. And if you've ever met Coach Ballmer, he's one of the more laid-back guys around. But when it comes to working, he's a grinder. And he's very, very important to this program. Not only because of his legendary status in the program as a player, but his time and his commitment that he's given this program over the years as a coach. So he plays such a huge role for us. He's my right-hand man. He's my head guy. And he will always be that for me.
When you look at those conversations with the returning athletes, guess what were kind of some of the some of those conversations like? What were some of the shared excitements, shared anxieties? What were players what were players saying to you? What was on their mind when you talked to them?
Not a lot, just really excited. I think the nuts and bolts will start here in August when we report August 15th. So that piece is when probably some more questions will come up. But just kind of excitement. I think change at times can be one of two things, scary or fun. And it's been on the other side, the fun side and excitement. Someone got to hear me speak at the induction ceremony, spoke with a few of them then. And then I have some players that I coached that were here, and Brandon Cabrera and Charlie Updegrade, that have shared some insight with them. So, yeah, I think there's some nervousness, but they're definitely excited.
And then when you look at the standards, obviously, to reach the World Series every year, and so we've obviously covered this in the news conference, different than when you were here, but it's kind of more similar to what you wanted, right? With the lack of the auto bid and having to earn your way in. I guess, how can you describe those standards of the program of LC State, and how do you put them into practice? How do you get to the World Series each and every year?
Well, I just think your work ethic and team chemistry, those are the two things. And people have asked me all the time, so we won 3 in a row. How did you do that? I said, well, the only thing that happened was we had team chemistry for all those years, and we just outworked everybody. So I would say for any successful organization, it's about work ethic and how people relate to each other. So those are the standards that are here. We've got to meet those standards daily in a lot of different areas, in the classroom, on the field, and in the community. And if we can continually do that throughout a year, I like our chances when it comes to that regional and finding a way to get to that World Series. The opportunity to have consistent playing over a season, I think, is so huge, where there's no breaks, no gaps. It's just every weekend, once you kick off, you're going. I think that helps with that chemistry piece. So I'm excited for that. It's definitely different than what it was when I was here last. But it's all about people. And if you got the right people that will work and have great chemistry and create relationships, you're going to have some sort of success when it all pans out.
Sweet. And when you look at the Warrior rosters of the last 2 years, I guess, is there any takeaways that you can take, or what was kind of the missing piece that would have helped LC get back to the World Series each of the last 2 years?
I really can't answer that. Obviously, not being here, but I'm familiar with a lot of the kids that were on those rosters. There's some phenomenal players, and there will be this year as well. So, but yeah, not being here, I'm not gonna assume or speculate what was going on, but no, they're great student athletes. I think that's one thing as you look over the rosters of the last, I don't know how many years LC State has existed in baseball. It's been a long time. The human beings, and that's something that beyond the championships and the All-Americans and the drafted guys, is just all the great human beings that have gone through this program. So that's been really neat, and we'll continue that tradition for sure.
That's right. When you look at the personal side of this job, what does it mean to you to be the leader of the LC State baseball program, to be the head coach, and to have this opportunity again?
Well, for me, it's the highest honor you could ever achieve. To be in a community that appreciates the program, that appreciates the student athletes, and understands what we give. You don't find that everywhere. And to be able to be back in the driver's seat of that, it's the highest honor. Simple.
And you look at, obviously, I read Matt's article about your family history, and obviously, time doesn't dull that pain, so my condolences, obviously, for the losses. And so I just wanted to ask, how do you kind of see your family, especially your father, in your work each and every day? Is he on your mind? And I guess, how does he kind of help you throughout your day?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, fathers have a huge impact, and yeah, that's a tough question there. But no, just work ethic. I think the blue collar work, and my family's been blue collar, my aunts, my uncles on both sides, and just taking that into a game and a sport where you can really impact that blue collar mindset. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have that to be successful at any job you're going to do. So we try to instill that in our players, and we have that like mindset from our staff and our players. So, yeah.
And when you look at just reporting August 15th, I guess just what's the process of building to that? And I guess what is left to be done, and how excited are you to reach that point?
Well, we got a few more recruits to sign, and then paperwork, and then some more paperwork for them, finding them housing, helping with that piece, getting the NAIA Eligibility Center, getting all that cleared. A lot of stuff that just needs the ticky-tack stuff that we need to get taken care of, and then get them and their families here and have a meet and greet and get this thing going, and hopefully kick off after physicals, and school gets started the 18th, so there's going to be a lot of other things going on in their lives. But yeah, that 15th date can't get here any quicker. It'll get here fast enough, but we're definitely all excited, and we're starting to feel that excitement from our players too. They've had a time to kind of step away from the game, a lot of them, and get some rest, and now it's time to get back to work here.
Awesome. And what have your interactions been with the other coaches? Obviously, some of these guys like Coach Johnson were here when you were last here, and just what was it like to be back in this hallway?
It's been great.
Yeah.
Reconnecting, and Coach Fong and Collins, and obviously Austin, and then having a very familiar face upstairs in Ray Padrina too. It's been really cool to see his work ethic. You talk about a grinder, Ray Padrina, and now he's up there and doing some great things for the community and for our program. So yeah, it's kind of going back to the very first thing we talked about, relationships. When you're doing it right, you build strong relationships, and they last forever. And that's what's awesome about LC State. Not just for baseball, but basketball, all our sports. I mean, we got a tight group in here of coaches. And I talked about that at the ceremony, about we're a team, and we'll always be a team. And it's fun to come to work every single day and see those faces. So it's an honor.
What's the feedback you've kind of gotten from either fans or alumni, and just kind of what's the community output been towards you?
Welcome back. Yeah, it was kind of cool. Just the other day we met our mailman, and I'd never met this gentleman before in my life, and he said, welcome back. So that's cool. Obviously, it touches on all the things I've said about how special this place is, and Lewiston, Idaho, Clarkston, our surrounding areas of people that care. And you want to be surrounded by that. You want to be a part of that. Yeah, it's been fun.
Sweet. And as you look ahead to this season, I guess, obviously you've got your own credentials and your own experience, but what can you take about kind of the recent years of the NAIN, and maybe has anything, obviously we talked about, the core of it hasn't changed, but about, maybe the new bracket or any of the new approaches that you see as what can you take, I guess, from the recent years that maybe, and from the players' experiences that will help you this season?
Well, I think with any tournament format, it's the team that's most resilient, and we were able to catch that for 6 years in my time here. We were really resilient. We were tough. We had a real appreciation for the game, and we competed on a daily basis. It don't matter what the bracket is or how they allow you to get into a tournament or not. If you can have those pieces, at the end of the day, you're going to be within the top two. I know that. So we've got to find a way to repeat that, and that comes from practice. I think for me, practice is the biggest piece that I enjoy. Games are games. I've been in a lot of them, and it's not that big of a deal, but practice is where we really got to have our focus. So we will do that. I truly believe we've got the right student athletes to do that. And then obviously our coaching staff to assist these guys as they go through. It's going to be huge. So yeah, I don't get too caught up in what the bracket is or how they seed you or where they rank you. That's all eyewash to me. It's about what you do on that practice field.
Definitely. And speaking of that practice field, obviously you have a lot of these practices that and these traditions that you keep alive, at the Lewiston Hill Run I've heard about, and many other things. I guess just why are those important to you, and important to LC, and can we expect to see those again this year?
Well, you definitely will. I think honoring the past is big. This place has so much history and some legends that have been a part of this, and we've got to continue to hold it to a very high standard. So we will definitely honor a lot of the traditions, create some new ones as well, like we did when I was here before. But Yeah, this place is, for the people that went through here and sacrificed for us, we can't take it for granted for 1 second. And we've got to do it right, and we've got to do it the LC way, and we will.
We look at those traditions, I guess. I'm not as familiar. Can you name some of those, and I guess what their impact is on the team?
Well, there's a lot. There's some different ones, but obviously you mentioned the hill. When you get a group of 40-some players have to run that hill, you're going to need help to get up to the top of that, and that creates team chemistry. I think looking in, obviously, what Coach Cheff did here, everything he did was to build team chemistry. And at the end of the day, that's how they won, was that team, that bond, that brotherhood. And our traditions enforce the brotherhood of being an LC State baseball player, what it means to be part of a team on a daily basis. Look to your right, look to your left. Those are the guys that are going to move you forward. And you set up things to help them understand that. And that's where a lot of those traditions became very prominent in the program. Some of them wake a kid up for missing class. There's some other pieces that kind of get them refocused. But the main thing with a lot of things we do is the brotherhood of being able to make it through something that you never thought you could do. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's how you're going to win a national championship. It's hard to win a national championship. Very, very hard. That's why I tip my hat to Shreveport this year for what they did. So you've got to understand that. You've got to practice how hard it is and be able to move through it.
When you talk about Ed Cheff and the impact that he had, obviously you had he recruited you, right?
Mm-hmm.
While you were a young man, and did you get to meet him face to face during that process?
In the recruiting process?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Back then, it was a lot different recruiting process than it is now. I was a junior college player, and basically they just send stuff out and away you go. So, but my second year as a head coach, I got to meet him, and was awestruck. I mean, it's Coach Cheff, and he's talking to me, right? Yeah. So I was head coach at Southwestern Oregon Community College, and he was recruiting, and he came in the dugout, and he knew my name, so immediately I was blown away. Had a short conversation with him, and then from that point on, started researching what he was doing and going to clinics that he would speak at, and just kind of saying, hey, this makes a lot of sense to me, and starting to implement a lot of what he was doing in my programs and seeing the success that my teams were having. And then obviously when I got the opportunity to be a 4-year head coach to play LC State, that was the first call I made, was to coach and to get on the schedule. And from that point on, we created a relationship.
What did it mean then to kind of have that mantle, to carry on that mantle of the program that he led? And I guess what made you uniquely qualified, obviously having not gone to LC State, to continue those traditions?
I don't know. You got to ask the people who hired me. I'm just nose to the grind. That's all I've ever done in coaching, and just work and have the real appreciation of creating relationships with kids. And that's where our success lies, and showing them work ethic as a grown man. I mean, I'm going to grind just as much as they are. And, I think the piece where I possibly had success is I get it. I understand where they're at. And having that compassion to see when they fail, to pick them up, and when they're having success, to continue to push them forward. And I think Coach Cheff did that. I really do. There's a lot of stories that don't get shared about Coach that are pretty special. So I think having a tender heart and just getting after it and showing them what work ethic is as a head coach, and my staff did the same thing. That's what's awesome about my crew, is they're going to work their tails off, and the kids are going to see it, and they're going to want to join in. So be the example. So servant leadership. I'm here to serve these guys, the community, our staff, our campus, whatever it is. I'm here to help.
When you look at the legacy of Ed Cheff, obviously it's a whole body of work, but are there any Cheff stories that you can share that are particularly inspiring to you?
Well, I mean, for me, I think you get a lot of coaches' stories where he's just kind of being hard on kids. And it wasn't always like that. For every kid that he pushed, he also put an arm around them when it was done and over with. So I got to see that firsthand, playing Coach Cheff's teams, of him wearing a kid out, and then after the game he's talking to the kid. So I think, yes, Coach was hard and he pushed his guys, but he is very demanding. But at the end of the day, he also loved those guys, and I think that's the big piece I took from Coach, just being able to love kids too, and that's how I've coached. So.
Yeah, you talk about, I guess, the answer to my next question of style and of your coaching style. Did it change at all when you got to LC State, or was it kind of a finished product, or largely formed when you got here?
I think it was largely formed because it was formed kind of by LC State, yeah. And what all those coaches, Coach Baconi too, and Coach Cheff, and getting to create relationships with those guys and how to have a successful player. How do you manage that? I think the player is more dynamic now, more emotional now. So you've got to be able to gauge yourself as a leader. How do we best focus on each kid and move them forward? So it's I think the game and student athletes, this age group, is a little more emotional. So you got to be careful. But you got to be there for them. And that's one thing that, as a young player, of coaches being there for me, of being able to pay it forward and always be there for my players. I don't know if that's a change that's happened, but I'm there for them. Setting office hours to meet with them, spending more time in team meetings. I think that's a lot more important than what I've done in the past. I know being at Umpqua Community College, we would do individual meetings more. We used to do them at winter break, and then we'd come back, and that was our only one-on-ones. But having more one-on-one meetings, I think, can really make a huge impact. So that would be the biggest change that I do. I do a lot of one-on-ones, and try to get to the whole group. So it's a lot of work, but once again, I'm here to serve them.
Through those one-on-ones, I guess, how have you kind of seen? You talked about this generation, maybe being a little emotional, but still obviously possessing that toughness and possessing that ability to meet the standards. How, I guess, when did you notice that change, and I guess how did you respond to it, and to where you are now?
Obviously, after COVID, I think a lot of things changed. But yeah, there's each kid. I mean, you hate to. A lot of kids get labeled this, that, or the other, but just give them kids a chance. Yeah. Give them a chance to succeed. There's been so many chances I've been given. I should have been out of the game at a very early age, but people kept giving me chances. And as a leader now that's been doing it for a long time, I'm just creating that opportunity for growth. And that means you got to give them second chances, third chances, fourth chances, and keep moving forward. And eventually they'll figure it out. I think there's toughness in every human being on the planet, but you got to find a way to tap into it. That piece has changed. There's a million different ways, and you got to figure out the right way. It used to be back in the day, you'd say one thing and they'd all do it. Well, you got to word it in a certain way to 40-some guys. So that's where the one-on-ones come in. That's where a like-minded coaching staff comes in. We're all saying the same thing. It's going to sound different from Coach Silvestri to Coach Ballmer to myself, but it's all the same. It's the way it sounds. So, yeah. Got to be aware. Got to be on it. You got to be fully engaged. This is not a program. You cannot be 99.9. It's 100% or don't take the job. So.
Sweet. You talk about those chances that you've gotten. I guess, what are some of those chances that you got throughout your life that matter the most to you?
Yeah, flunked out of junior college twice, 0.5 GPA. And some people grabbed me and said, "You're an idiot. You need to figure this out. You're a better student than this. You can do it." And just that encouragement of surrounding yourself. Once again, I say this a lot, surround yourself with like-minded people, because that's where success will lie. And I had a great group of people around me that picked me back up and pushed me forward. And if they wouldn't have done that, I would have been on a whole different path than I am today. So I'm just so thankful and blessed every single day that I get to wake up to be a head baseball coach. And then obviously the icing on the cake, it's at LC State. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, a lot of it's me, but most of it's a lot of other people encouraging me as I went through. So sometimes the encouragement was a kick in the pants. The other times it was an arm around the shoulder. But it was still this, I got it. I understood. So, yeah.
When you were at that fork of the road of flunking out of junior college, I guess, who were those people that kind of tapped you on the shoulder and gave you that chance?
Yeah.
What were those conversations like?
Obviously, my father wanted me to choose a different path than he did. And then just random people. I had a health teacher who had zero involvement in my baseball career, but knew me as a human being and saw me at a junior high football game. I was watching my younger brother play football, and he saw me and he just shook his head. And I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He said, "Why are you still playing?" Yeah. And he helped me get back into the game. And I think that's so important about leadership and people, of seeing people that need some encouragement or some help, regardless if they're in baseball or not. And Coach Myers, still talk to him today. He was never a baseball coach. He was our volleyball coach at the high school and our health teacher. And I'm still friends with him to this day. And he's the reason I got back in the game.
That's awesome. So. Coach Myers, what was his first name?
Bruce Myers.
Bruce Myers.
Yep.
Douglas?
Yep.
That's sweet.
Yep.
Cool. And I guess, Coach, I really appreciate your time. I think that's been really fun, but I really appreciate this opportunity. I guess, is there anything I missed or anything you'd like to add about what lies
you're
ahead?
pretty thorough. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You bet, Sam. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.